Hello, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
So hold on. Hey, Jarita. Jarita, you're on mute.
Hello,
That's what we
hello.
doing, New. Are we just not giving no warning? That's what we doing today. You just start me with no warning. Hold on 1 second, you guys. Okay. Can you hear? Can you hear everybody?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, we are live. They do this to me all the time. I think it's because I'm black. They don't give me any notice. They just like this is like go. There's no 2, 3, 1, nothing. But thank you both for joining me on this lovely Sunday. For those of you that do not know, I am not in New York today. I am in the DMV, as they call it. And I have two lovely people here with me that are hopefully going to give us some insight on to what the hell is going on with I don't like using the word mental health and physical health, but it's mental health. Hold on 1 second. He's calling me. Hold on. Yes, hello. We started. You can't hear me? Okay, we're here. That's what you get for not giving me no notice. Anyways, I don't like saying mental health or combining mental health and physical health into one, but they are one. Your brain is an organ, your heart is an organ. And Jarita and I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves in a minute, but we both work with children, Judd, and we need your guidance because we see we see every day what happens when we don't take our health seriously and we don't take what we're putting into our body seriously. So I'm hoping that you both can give everybody some light on this. I'm an English teacher, so I'm here. I'm here for all the things. I'm taking notes.
Gotcha.
But our topic today, for those of you that have just joined us, this is the comment section, and we're talking about the effects of nutrition and exercise on our overall body health, particularly our children. And how can we start getting them to drink the Kool-Aid? Like, pardon the pun, but how can we get them to start understanding what it is that they're putting in their bodies so that they don't end up being morbidly obese and, you know, the diabetes and high blood pressure and the different things that we are plagued with as adults. And so I completely changed the topic of the show today to bring in these two individuals who I think have a little bit more information than I do about what we need to do and how we can do it. So first we have, I'm not going to mispronounce your last name, Judd. I'm going to let you. I didn't know if it was French or. I'm going to call him Coach Judd. He is my personal trainer. I haven't been with him that long, but I've already lost 10 pounds, you guys. So he knows exactly what he is doing. But tell us a little bit about what you do and why you started doing it, Judd,
Oh
please.
yeah, no problem. I'm Coach Judd. My full name is Judson Talandier. I am originally from New York, Rockland County, New York, Nyack, New York to be specific. I went to Howard University, and that's how I ended up in DC. And I own the Nation of Judstonia, which is a fitness company that we do group fitness training. Also, we do individual training too. For people that want that personal touch. I got into the business. Well, I've been always a health nut since like for all I can remember. I always was into working out and different things like that because I played football in high school, and I mean since I was a youth, since like 8 years old, I played ball. Always played sports, and when I got to college, I was supposed to play college ball, but I didn't. But that's another story for another day. But which way, yeah. I just stayed working out. I always tell people my biggest fear in life is getting sick on something I could control. That's my biggest fear in life. That's why I do what I do when it comes to working out. Like there's sicknesses that you can get that's hereditary and different things of that nature. that happens, out of your control.
Yeah,
But, my thing is everything I can control, I'm going to control. You know what I
absolutely.
mean? And that's my mentality about health, is that I can control it. When you talk about, things like, diabetes and, cholesterol levels and, high blood pressure and things like that. I mean, to an extent, of course, it can be hereditary, but you can control the narrative as much as possible if
Absolutely.
you mentally decide to control it. So I say that to say, that's my driving force. And, going into the fitness industry was natural for me because that's what I love to do. And it's not even like a job for me. You know what I mean? It's like something that, I love to do. So I just share it with other people.
Okay, that's your
Yeah,
passion.
yeah, that's my passion. Yeah, definitely. And then,
Okay.
so with my, I have a son and he played college football at Pitt, and also Akron. He finished at Akron, but he played at the top level. But I had him working out, as a baby. People used to be like, "Yo, you gonna stun his growth?" He was like, I had him doing push-ups at 1, 2 years
Oh my
old.
God.
And by the time he was 5, he was in the gym with me. So he was literally working out at 5 years old, like
So
in the
that
gym.
becomes a part of his lifestyle. That's so important. I'm glad you said that because we
Hmm.
don't see enough of that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
facts.
I'm gonna let Jarita piggyback here. Just tell us, Jarita, what it is you do and some of the traumas that we witness on a daily basis now with children.
Well, just a little backstory of me. I'm a native of New Orleans, Louisiana. I am in the Baltimore area as an elementary physical ed teacher. Um, I have been working in the space of sports-based youth development for almost 10 years now. I want to say it's about 8. Started in the kind of nonprofit sector and moved more back into like the everyday hands-on as far as coaching is concerned. Um, I have a master's degree in kinesiology from the Southeastern Louisiana University. And I'm a very community-based person. That is a foundational part of me. That's something that was instilled in me. So I'm just the type of person that likes to marry all the worlds that were instilled in me: sports, community, and then exercise and fitness or wellness. When you're talking about the holistic approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my 8 years of coaching, I have seen kids experience things that I either have not experienced yet, hope to not experience in my adulthood, or maybe some things that I experienced when I moved away from home and was in college, when I didn't have that arc of safety, if you will. Um, and so navigating that or helping them to navigate that has been interesting. I've also been a part of research studies where we have talked about food deserts. When you think about a lot of your inner city kids and what they have access to and what they don't have access to, the lack of education in the space of health and nutrition. There are it's a lot of layers, right? It's a lot of layers of what we can do to help them. What we did I disappear?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold
Yeah,
on.
I think we all did.
I think we all did. Hold on one second. There we go.
Go. What we can do to help them and what we can do to even understand what's going on. I
And
think
I think the word help is important because they don't feel there's anything wrong. And
that's true.
It isn't until we lose someone that we care about to something like Judd said that we could have prevented that people realize that there is a problem. And it's a very simple solution to it. My mother died at 47. I just lost a very good friend and former coworker, 38, to cancer. My grandmother died at 36. And what I see, if you talk to these people, there are commonalities, and most of it is food and what we do, lifestyle. those are things that we can control. And I think a lot of times we assume that if you're overweight, you're unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
You can be skinny and be unhealthy.
Facts.
And I wanted to address that and maybe not only just talk about it, but come up with some active solutions that we can implement starting like tomorrow with these kids. Because Judd, when I tell you, I see them a lot of times more than their parents do.
Mm-hmm.
They are coming to me at 7:30 in the morning, breakfast, hot Cheetos, orange soda,
Mm-hmm.
bag of Skittles, sometimes bag of
Chicken.
Skittles, and a bag of Starburst. Am I lying? I'm telling the
No, a
truth.
chicken box. I just wanted to add that.
Oh,
in there.
chicken box. That's the child who shall remain nameless. I was about to say his name. Chicken box every day. Grandma knocks on the door and gives me, the chicken box to give him for lunch every day. That's just what we see. We don't know what they're doing when they leave.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously they're not. If they're doing that in school, then they are even probably more unhealthy at home. So
at home, but in their defense, there's not a lot there. Like she said, it's a food desert where we are. If I don't bring my lunch, I'm hit for the day. There's not a whole lot for me to eat that's
gotcha.
not processed or fried. So do you think that this is intentional, that we are in these predicaments where certain communities don't have access to certain foods and certain lifestyle suggestions because they really don't know, and you don't know what you don't know? So how do we fix that part of it?
No, it's definitely intentional. If I mean, if you probably did, if you did a research and just went to different schools and different communities, from Baltimore, inner city of Baltimore, and then let's say if you go into the suburbs of Howard County or something like that, and you probably can see the difference in the food choices that are available in around surrounding that school district or that school itself.
Yeah.
And unfortunately in the hood that we have our bodegas. Well, in New York they call them bodegas, but like you have your corner stores and you have your Chinese food places and stuff like that. And so it in order to it's you got to be very conscious to be healthy. You have to really think about it and really pay attention to everything that you're doing. And unfortunately, a lot of these parents don't have the time nor the means or the money because to eat healthy is expensive. If you look, I mean, anything that deals with organic or you put organic on it, the price goes up.
Yeah.
So but America, I think, they make money off of the sick. The sick is a very
Yeah.
profitable business if you look at it. I mean, like for instance, just for an example, I do my own. I always measure my own blood pressure. I do it myself. I got my own blood pressure. And I always measure my own blood pressure because when you go to the doctor, sometimes they say, it's called the white coat syndrome. Your blood pressure gets higher
Yeah.
because you're at the doctor's office. So, but the first thing they want to do is try to put you on some pills.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's why I started doing it myself. So that way I can show the doctor, like, okay, every week or 2 weeks, I do my own blood pressure. So then when I go there, I have a history of my blood pressure. So that way, if they sit there and be like, oh, well, your blood pressure is getting high, so maybe we should, use this medicine or that medicine. I'd be like, nah, check this out. This is my blood pressure.
This is
So
what it is.
they
Okay.
can see what I do it like I'll do it in the morning. Sometimes I'll do it in the evening just to get different readings. But, I say that to say, I'm consciously ahead of, taking care of myself, not just waiting for the doctor to take care of me.
Tell you.
You know
So
what I mean?
what age do you think is early enough to start getting students involved in this conversation about blood pressure, what it looks like, and how to keep it from being high? Like what's too soon for them
Well,
to?
I don't think it's too soon anytime, but to have that conversation. But of course, children's blood pressure is not going to be high, even though they're eating crazy or whatever, because that's just, the way it is. However, to have that conversation of, the health conversation and have them be aware of, you know, those type of things is very important. You know, at a very young age, you can start that at, I mean, like I would say, shoot, kindergarten. It's just, you know, we just got to start having a conversation about health, you know what I mean? And different things on health, like blood pressure, what it is. And, you know, have the kids more educated in hypertension, or because, you know, they can even help out their parents. If you're educating them about it,
Oh yeah.
they can go back home and be like, hey, mom, you know, this is what I learned today about blood pressure and this, that, third, and fourth, or hypertension or diabetes and things of that nature. So they can have, you can have the kid lead the conversation at the
Oh,
house,
for sure.
because the parents, a lot of times aren't, you know, versed at any of it. And as educators, you know, if you are able to, you know, get the children thinking on that level, it can also, you know, help their household out.
I agree. And like I said, Jarita and I, we see this every day with kids just, you know, throwing caution to the wind with their diet. And for some of them, it is, I have to eat what's given to me, or I have to eat what's available. But for a lot of them, it's just, they just don't care. They don't think that it's affecting them. I'm a kid. I'm supposed to eat junk food. I'm a kid. I can do what I want. I don't have to worry about that until I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
But we recently had a student in the building who had some type of like heart palpitations. They didn't know if it was a heart attack. They didn't know what it was, but it wasn't an asthma attack. It wasn't. It was something that they ate that caused them to have these adverse reactions. And the child was overweight. Can't say much more than that. But Jarita, do you think that it's a case of the earlier the better? Like, would you suggest, like he said, talking to a kindergartner or a kindergarten class about what, you know, what they should be consuming and what they should not be consuming?
Absolutely. I think it's also layered. I think that the approach, because of the lack of education in the space, needs to be like one that is communal, and that parents should receive information, staff should receive information, as well as what we give to the kids, right? We may tell a parent or a staff member who's an adult that, hey, if you're not consuming enough water, if you're not consuming this amount of vegetables and whatever, this can attribute to this down the line, right? Whereas if you tell it to a child, they may not receive it because they may not fully understand it, but they do understand that they need to eat vegetables, or they have to drink so much water a day, right? And as they grow and progress, like, they can kind of connect the dots as they go along. But I do think that starting as young as kindergarten, actually, if you want to peek into my lesson next week, 2nd through 3rd grade, we'll be doing coloring sheets with health facts on the bottom. The first one is about eating a rainbow. And it's just going to have like different fruits and veggies. And it's stuff that we've talked about, you know, throughout the year. You know, we've also talked about the fact that I only see them once a week. So it's kind of hard to give them PE and health. But to be able to, for them to see it. Another thing that I'm going to give them as a tool that I've had from previous years is a coloring sheet, where whenever they drink a cup of water, they can color it in, and they can kind of track how much water they're taking. And I have like for the older kids, I have with like a fitness journal, or wellness journal that does the same thing for what they're eating, what they're drinking, what they're feeling. And so it's just kind of having the guidance, if you will, of individuals to help them be intentional about those things, because those are not things generationally, right? Historically, you talk about the intentionality of having carryouts and corner stores and bodegas on certain corners, and what they're selling. That's a historical thing. Like, that's something beyond what's happening just in this generation. We're just starting to see the effects of it, because there's so much more processed food in the world, versus a lot of us used to eat at home. You would have your junk food here and there, but a lot of what we ate was cooked at home.
It was cooked at home.
And I think that's another thing too, that's kind of like, you know, parents work, or they're doing, you know, what have you, and kids only have, a lot of kids are latchkey kids, and they're getting what they can.
I don't. We have had the conversation, you and I, about you seeing the kids only once a week and how detrimental that is to them. We used to have gym every day. Every day after lunch, we went outside, whether it was raining or snowing or not. But I'm from Detroit, so I don't know how y'all do around here. But they complain. This is what you don't hear. They complain about gym. I've never seen children not want to go to gym. Oh my God, Miss Phillips, can we just sit up here and be on the laptop? Oh my God, we got to go to gym. Why is she going to make us run? She going to make us. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You guys are 10, 11 years old. This should be the highlight of your week. They don't want to do it, Judd. They hate exercise.
That's crazy.
One flight of steps. I'm 49. I walk up one flight. They're sweating and out of breath with one flight of steps.
Yeah, it's an epidemic if you look at it. Compared to, you know, like I look at it because, you know, again, I had a son who played sports, and he was playing. I had him playing football and track and basketball ever since he was a youth. So I coached him and everything like that. So I say this to say, you see kids today are less likely to play active sports and stuff like that. Like, you got a lot of, you know, you guys are in the school system. You got some schools that have completely shut down certain sports because they don't have enough participation.
Yeah.
Like, they'd be like, oh, we don't have a football team no more because we don't have kids that want to play. You know what I mean? Or we don't have this, we don't have that. And these kids today, you know, the computers and TV, and not even TV, because, you know, most kids don't even watch television. Like, yeah, they're just on their you know on the internet, and just, you know, YouTubing and TikTok and stuff like that. And it's, you know, that's fine, but, you know, they always, you know, there's a balance to everything in life. You know what I mean? So, if, you know, we're more healthier, the parents are from Generation X is more healthier than the kids, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and another thing is, I am a person who truly believes in do as I do, not do as I say. So if you're not leading, you're not doing exactly what you want your kids to do, it's very hard for you to preach that to them. You know what I mean? Like, so I've always been that active, that type of parent that I'm like, do as I do. I'm not telling you to do as I say, do as I do. Because you see me, I work out, you know, damn near 2 times a day, 5 days a week. You know, so I'm like, do as I do. And then, so when your child sees that in the household and sees an active, healthy parent and parents, both of them on the same accord, it helps that child become that person because they don't know nothing else. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So it starts with the parents. I mean, like, at the end of the day, your surroundings can be your surroundings, but if you, as the parent, decide to be like, okay, I'm going to be as healthy as possible, and let the kid, because kids mirror, you know, their parents. They do. They I mean, you guys are educators. You know, they come in, they say certain things that they saw at home. They talk certain ways. They do certain things because they saw it. And so if they, and you know, it can be negative, but it can also be positive. If they're seeing positivity constantly, they're going to mimic positivity. They're going to mimic, you know, a healthy lifestyle. So it's you know, education through the parents, education through the kids. It's a lot.
It is. And I think maybe this fall I decided that I wanted to take on, like what you just said. I am some of the only positivity that a lot of my students see, and I didn't want to accept that, but it's fact. Sometimes they look at me as their sole influence. If Miss Phillips is doing it, if Miss Mitchell is doing it, I'm going to do it. And when I looked at it that way, I said, you know what, I have to start doing better. I have to get this weight off. This has been my Achilles for many, many years. Like I told you, I would lose it, gain it. And now I'm fighting with like the same 40 or 50 pounds. I lost 100, gained it. It's a mess. And I'm tired of the roller coaster, and they're tired of hearing me talk about it. So they check me. They're like, Miss Phillips, are you supposed to be eating that? Because you had said that you was intermittent fasting and it's past 2:00. Like, they'll they'll hold me accountable, and I see them
Good.
make better changes. Is it the responsibility of every adult in a child's life to ask them to do better, or is that asking too much?
Ooh, can I jump on this?
Yes, please.
I am only 30, and I grew up with the power of the village. Right. I'm also from the South. I get it might be a little different. I don't know.
Everybody has permission to beat you down there.
But but also everybody has permission to pour into you.
Mhm.
And you know, I also believe in what Coach Judd said and do as I do. I believe that modeling is very important. Kids are more inclined, especially in this day and age with technology and how they follow technology, how they follow the things that they see on social media. They're more inclined to model you versus do what it is that you say to do if
Yeah.
you're doing something opposite. And so, yeah, I believe that it is the responsibility of every adult. And I won't even say every adult, every person that is older and more knowledgeable,
Yeah.
whether they are an older sibling or a teacher or the person in the neighborhood down the street. Where I'm from, it used to be the candy lady or whoever it is that knew that that child lived in that space or occupied that space, went down to the rec at that space or goes to school there. They have a right to pour into that child positively. If you see that child drinking, I want to say a cold drink so bad, but I don't know the common term, soda, pop, all that. Um, if you see a child drinking that every day, and like you said, sometimes we see that at 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, actually, maybe you want to drink some water. You know, get a sip of water, and start your day. Let your body wake up all the way, and then maybe you could have some of that later. I'm not gonna neglect you of it because you're a child, but hey, let's kind of flip this narrative, if you will. So yeah, that's my take on it, though.
Okay. I get like in a conundrum a little bit because they are children, and then this is my first year really dealing this closely with fifth grade. I'm used to eighth grade, ninth grade, where it's it's a whole nother world. These are babies, and they hang on your every word, everything that you do, everything you say. They are hanging on to it. But we were just doing a study last week on the effects of what you eat on your mood and on how you just perceive things around you, not just ADHD, not just depression, but just in general. Eating a ton of sugar can have you crash. And I tell them that. I'm like, you guys are breaking out in fits of rage for what? Look at what you ate that day. So they sat and they logged what they ate, and most of them found that it was mostly sugar, it was mostly processed foods, and then you see the fight after lunch, or you see the fight or the argument at the end of the day because everything is coming crashing down. So what would be the best place to start with elementary and middle school kids on their diet? Let's just say my mom, dad doesn't have a ton of money. What can I do as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old to be better, even though my parents don't necessarily have the money to provide me with what I need?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, I'm not in the school system, so I don't know, what I would say it would start with, the educators making sure that the school provides healthier options for lunch, or just in around the school itself. You have vending machines, because the vending machines, you could put what you want to put in them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, if you put healthier options inside the vending machines, let's say if they got vending machines around the school, that's what they're going to eat, and, that would be the best place to start, is to make sure that the school itself is operating with better intentions when it comes to food choices in the school. So, you know what I mean? Like, substitute, more vegetables and fruits and things of that nature than French fries and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I know for a fact, um, you know, that is, most of the times, shoot, that be the kids' only meal
Yeah.
at school.
Yeah.
So if we can get the school board to say, okay, we're going to adopt a more healthier choice of food in our school system. That would be the best place to start, I believe.
Okay. And stop rewarding them with donuts and
Nonsense like that.
cookies.
Can I give a different perspective?
What's that?
I said, can I give a different perspective? I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think also it's important to meet them where they are and let the kids make a choice. You mentioned something that I don't really hear very often, and that you made them pay attention to like nutrition label and what they were consuming. And if they can learn that when they're in the store making choices, they're more inclined to pay attention to that when they're making choices outside of your presence, right? And so maybe the long term is to petition school boards, petition school leaders, and things like that to get them on the same page. But just to start with what we have right in front of us, hey, when you go into the store and your options are a bag of hot Cheetos, a granola bar, and a bag of Skittles, what are you going to choose and why? And have them understand the importance of making that choice themselves and what it is that they're choosing. If you choose that bag of hot Cheetos, this is what can potentially happen. If you choose the bag of Skittles, you're going to get that raise in your sugar and then that crash. But if you choose the granola bar, it's a little bit more balanced than the other two options, right? And if they can understand it to that level, when they have more healthier options and more choices, they'll be more inclined to choose those other things because they understand the value in making a positive or a healthy choice.
Okay. That's doable. I'm trying to get them out of this whole big back era. Everybody's big back this, big back that. And for people that really do have big backs, it's kind of counterintuitive because you're telling me that if I'm overweight, I shouldn't love myself. I'm ugly. I'm automatically, like a cancer in this environment, which I don't want to do. I want to teach them self-love, body positivity, but I also don't want to condone someone being overweight because it is unhealthy. So how do you address that, particularly with the girls that we work with, because they are very, very sensitive. Everything hurts their feelings. You have to be very, very, very careful how you phrase things because you don't want them to be scarred for life with something that my teacher said. My teacher said, I need to lose weight. That must mean I'm ugly. How do you address these issues with children of this age, Judd? Like, let them know it's not okay for you to be overweight, but we still want you to love yourself.
Well, I look at it this way. It's I don't concentrate on weight. I concentrate more on body fat. That's just me.
Okay.
And what 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 um what I would suggest is, like, because people are going to be different sizes. I mean, if you look at, okay, for instance, in the NFL, let's just say, I'm just going to use that as an example. You got linemen. They could be 300 pounds, right? But they're 300 pounds. Those are 300 healthy pounds, because 9 times out of 10, their body fat percentage is not that high, and they also are strong. They're physically healthy, but they're 300 pounds. So that doesn't, the weight is not the issue. The issue is health. Like you said, you could be a very skinny person and be very unhealthy. Um, if I was dealing with children on that level, I would deal with them more on, and this would be easier concept, is strength. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, okay, how many push-ups can you do? How many pull-ups can you do? Different things like that, sit-ups. Because then you're not having the conversation about their size anymore. You're having that conversation about their fitness, aspirations and goals. And like, okay, how let's see if we can run, a mile underneath 10 minutes or something like that. You know what I'm saying? When you start doing that, then you take away the focus on on all their sizes. And now you're making them concentrate on being healthy. And the size part will come into play. The more healthier they become, the less of the size issue they'll have, and they'll fall into their natural ability of who they are. You know what I mean? Because if they're a big person, they're going to just be a healthy big person. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like about no real talk. So you know you're going to just be a healthier big person. That's it. You know what I mean? You're gonna fall into your category because if you concentrate more on the exercising and the health aspect, then the weight will play itself out. You know what I'm saying? They'll be where they're supposed to be. But you know, if they're doing, they could be look overweight per se, but if they're able to do like 100 push-ups and it's sit-ups and they can run a mile in 7 minutes, they're healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just that's their body structure, that they're a bigger person. And that should be more concentrated than size, because if you concentrate on size, then you start getting into people doing Ozempic and all that kind of stuff, because you can always bypass the size, but doesn't mean you're healthy though.
It doesn't mean you're healthy
At all. It doesn't mean you're healthy. Like I can go and you could go and say, okay, I'm just gonna go on Ozempic and start doing that and lose all the weight, but you're not healthy. Or I can go under the knife and get surgery, but you're still not healthy. Your organs aren't your organs aren't healthy. You can address all that. You can suck all the fat out of your body. You can pay money to do all that, but does that mean you're healthy? And it doesn't. Yeah. So concentrate more on the exercising and different things of that nature, and just let the weights thing play itself.
Let it play itself out.
Yeah.
Coach Jay, do you guys still have to do like the government mandates about how fast they can run a mile and how much body percentage or body fat they're supposed to have? Do they share those details with the kids still, or is that like a thing of old?
So to my knowledge, that used to be the President's Fitness Challenge. That does not exist.
Wow.
I believe like if you go, so I went on a website, I want to say at the beginning of the school year, because, I believe in the power of not reinventing the wheel. And I was going to just steal like all their, not steal, but print out the certificates and stuff that they have on the website. And when I went on the website, it mentions it. It mentions how it existed and what have you. But as of like current day, there is no like, it is not to the extent in which it used to be. The resources are still available. As in it tells you what things are. I mean, I also, I was going the clinical route before I decided to jump into PE. And so I have like a lot of like the clinician books and stuff like that, that gives me that information. I do the PACER test because it's something that I could do in the gym, and I could do it across all the grade levels that I teach because I see everybody. But this year, so our warm-ups, we do a little bit of cardio and a little bit of strength, and then we run afterwards. And there's intention in that, just as Coach Judd said, one person may be strong in one area and not strong in the other. And my biggest thing is comparison is the thief of joy, right? And so the kids naturally, just because I don't know where their competitive spirit comes from, but they compare and they compete with any and everything that we do down there. And so we might start off doing jumping jacks. Halfway through the year, I added planks, and I would add 5 seconds each week. We do push-ups, and now you have some girls who are out push-upping the boys. And so it's like, I went home and I was practicing because so-and-so said I wasn't going to be able to do it. And so now they're getting to a point in the year where it's like, Coach Jay, I could do a 35-second plank without even getting tired, without it even hurting. And it's like, yeah, no, that's the point, that you're getting stronger. Or some of them in their running, it's like, by nature, I've been a runner for 20 years. I'm a track coach. And so sometimes I got to correct what I see because I can't help myself. And some of them are noticing certain things about themselves and they're getting faster, or they're correcting their classmates, and not in a, you don't know what you're doing type of way, but in a, hey, you remember Coach Jay said this? Hey, you remember we're supposed to do it like this? And it's just, I mean, it's also creating a culture. of like, you do have those kids that come down there and it's like, oh, do we have to do this? And I'm like, we're almost 40 weeks into school, y'all. We start class off the same way every week. But then once they get to it, it's like, okay, like by the time we get to running, everybody's having a good time.
They're having
Right.
fun.
So, it's finding the things. We will do a challenge at the end of this year. I'm unfortunately having to create my own certificates and stuff. But like the mile is not something that we're gonna do this year. It's something that I'm gonna do next year. Just because I want to secure the space in the back. That's kind of open to the public a little bit. So I want to be able to like have that chained up before especially the younger kids, before I take them out there. But we're going to do push-ups. We're going to do sit and reach. We're going to do planks, and then like a 20-meter like shuttle run. And then, that'll give them an opportunity to see where they are. And then what I plan to do is expound upon that next year for the ones that will return.
Okay. I want to start emphasizing with them, particularly the girls, on how exercise is actually a natural antidepressant. It makes you feel better after you work out. So we had some of those conversations. And so then they wanted to stay up for lunch and work out. And I'm like, well, this is my lunch. I'm not about to work out with y'all during my lunch. However, you can use my room if you want to do that. So is that a good take on it? Like, just have them do it for sport and not necessarily for just health? Like, have them just do it for fun because it makes them feel good? Should I attack it that way?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's a great way to. I mean, any which way to make it not work. You know what I mean? Like make it not feel like work. Make it feel like they're having a good time doing it is the best way to engage kids in a healthier lifestyle. You know what I mean? Because of course, if you make it feel like it's work, then they're not going to want to do it.
Yeah.
But if you can make it more fun and make and they don't even realize that they're basically exercising because they're having so much fun doing it. That's the best way to do it.
And like she said, they're very, very competitive.
That's great.
They watch your every move. So I have to do this. You have to help me get this weight off, sir. You have to. We're watching. And we said that we were going to start a program for the girls with the nonprofit. There are a lot of overweight girls, but I'm having to like debunk some of the ideas that they have about being overweight. They think being thick and being, it's not cool. And I'm trying to tell them that if like you said, if you're naturally that structure, that's just how you are. You want to be as healthy as you can. But they're thinking that, I need to gain 30 pounds so that I can be sexy to the boys, or so that I can be cute. And I'm trying to explain to them that's not the way to attack that. So yeah, there's a lot of layers to this.
It's a mindset shift.
It's a mindset shift, absolutely. As I'm like, it's not sexy if you're dead.
Not at all.
So let's tell us a little bit. I want Coach Judd to talk to us a little bit about your program and what someone could look forward to if they decide to join with you. And Tanisha, I hope she's back there. Tell her I said hi.
No problem. She's upstairs. No, yeah, but my program, it's you can find me on IG at the Nation of Judstonia. And that's JUDSTONIA.
Too for you.
Okay, and my website is judstonia.com. So what we do is we concentrate on I concentrate on group fitness, adult group fitness. That's my concentration. Of course, I can can train kids and things of that nature, but I tend to our concentration is more adult fitness because adults need it a lot more than anybody else. I believe, because it gets to a point where I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, look, just like when you get on a plane, if they tell you to, secure your mask on first before you secure your child's, or a person that you're traveling with. And I'm like, if you don't take care of yourself, then who's going to take care of you? You know what I mean? And a lot of people try to use excuses like, "Oh, I ain't got the time. Oh, I got to work. I got this. I got that. I got this." They'll use every excuse in the book, and I'm like, "Yo, that's BS." Because I'm like, you need to treat yourself better than you treat your job. If you don't treat yourself better than you treat your job, you're missing out in life. Like, because at the end of the day, God forbid anybody you pass out today, they're going to be like, "Oh, sorry for the loss. Send your
and
people
replace
flowers
you.
or whatever." But guess what? Your job will be replaced. Somebody else will be in your job within a week or two, or well, shoot, the next day somebody will be working in there, and then they'll be looking for to hire a full-time position person there. So when you're using your job as an excuse not to work out, saying I just don't have the time because I'm always working, that's the BS. I don't. I'm like, you know what? That's nonsense. Because at the end of the day, you need to tell your job, like, look, and if you really break it down, I always tell people this. I'm like, if you were to take a journal of your day, every day, you will see how many hours you waste doing nothing. And in all we're asking is an hour of your day, 1 hour, and that's you waste. And all of us do it. I do it. Everybody does it. We'll waste. If you take it, real talk. But besides sleeping, of course, you need that. But I'm just saying, anything you'll waste 2, 3, 4 hours a day doing nothing, and then so therefore that could be your workout. So So we that's the reason why I got into adult fitness, trying to help adults, realize their potential. And also we do a lot more strength training.
Yeah.
So I am very, very, like pinpoint on strength training.
Yeah.
Like, cardio, all that stuff. Yeah, that's cool. But as you get older, especially for women, you need to weightlift. You need to weightlift. That's like non-negotiable. Matter of fact, weightlifting is more important than cardio.
It is.
As you're getting older.
As you get older, it
Because
absolutely is.
Yep. Because you at a very rapid rate, you lose muscle mass when after 20 years old. And you could do the research. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but after like 20, 25 years old, the years, as the years go by, you lose muscle mass so quickly, it'd make your head spin. How much muscle mass people lose as they get older. And with women, especially, with osteoporosis and all different things of that nature, bones start to get brittle, tendons and all that kind of stuff. People break hips and all that kind of stuff because they're not strong. They're not strong in their legs and stuff like that. So I am a very big, like, if you do our program, you're going to weightlift. You're going to bench. You're going to do weights that and a lot of women like, oh, I just like doing legs. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to do no upper body, but I make you do upper body. Like, you're going to be benching. You're going to be, doing shoulders, biceps, triceps. You're going to do legs too. But I'm just saying,
the truth.
yeah. So we go hard in the paint with the weightlifting, but we do cardio too. But I stress weightlifting a lot.
Oh yeah. A lot of women too, like she said, it's mindset. A lot of women do not like to feel like they have failed at something. And so rather than saying, okay, I tried this and I wasn't successful at it, they just won't do it. Or they'll just stick to what's cute and what they know, which is usually a bunch of cardio. But I'm here to tell you, ladies, once you get over I'm going to say over the age of 40, you really do have to start doing your strength training, whether you like it or not, because the cardio will not work. It's not even about what you want to do. It won't work like it used to.
Nah, not at all.
That's why I sought the help of a trainer, because I was doing the same things I was doing for the past 20 years and it was no longer working the way that it used to. So this is my before. So I would keep you guys posted. Jarita Mitchell, what do you think we need to do?
Whole government.
What do we need to, that's your whole government name. What do we need to do to change the mindset of our babies? Because they don't get it. They don't get it.
I do believe that we have to start young. I do believe that we have to be consistent, as frustrating and tedious as it may be, because we're not the only voice in their ear. Um, um, and I do think that you start small and you build upon it like blocks.
Do you think we should do like a gender-based program, or should we just do everybody lumped together after school or before school to talk about this?
I think that if you were to do gender based, I would probably start in the years of puberty, before to start breaking it off into gender, because that's when you kind of like start having to get specific to certain things.
Okay.
So maybe like around that fourth grade age, because I've had some girls come to gym this year and they're experiencing things for the first time and they're just like completely shut down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, sweetheart, I understand.
Yeah.
Come talk to me after class. But I think that's when it kind of splits off gender wise. I like the idea of after school, but I also understand, especially after this year, hosting a track team with 50 plus kids and some days it being only me. Capacity is a real issue, and it takes away the quality of what you're trying to give them. And so if you have enough hands, enough willing volunteers or what have you, after school sounds great. Or if you rotate the groups around so that you can meet the needs of all the kids that are interested. Because once that small group first comes and kids start to recognize the benefits that they're receiving from it, more kids are going to want to gravitate to it. And that's what I saw with track this year, because, you know, we've never had a track program to what I've understood prior to this year. And it's been like, okay, love that y'all love it, but there has to be a cutoff here. But yeah, I think, you know, just like the intentionality of figuring out what's the goal. I think that's another thing too. Don't try to throw too many things at them at once.
Yeah.
You want to find like a couple of things that you can really hone in on that will stick with them beyond their time with you. That's a big thing for me. I don't care if they learn all the great things when they're with me. When they leave this space with me, is there something that they can take away from this space that is going to help them be a productive citizen as they grow and go on in life? And so, yeah, those are kind of like what I use to help build the things that I've built and am continuing to build.
Okay. And then for both of you, either one of you can take this. In regards to working out, what would you say some of the biggest misconceptions are that people have that might keep them from becoming active or involving themselves in a workout program? What are some of the biggest myths, I think, that you guys find yourself having to debunk?
I would say for women, it's I don't want to get too bulky. I don't want to look like a bodybuilder, which it cannot possibly happen. And if you're a person who hasn't worked out, you're never going to look like a bodybuilder. I mean, I'm like, I'm like, it's just not going to happen. I mean, I work out dang near 2 times a day, and I don't even look like a bodybuilder.
Yes,
and
you
it's
do.
like, nah, I just don't. I'm like, the what they, that is the biggest, to me, is the biggest misconception. Like, I don't want to, especially when you tell them that, we're going to be weight training a lot. That's the first thing that come in their mind. I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. I'm like, no, it's not going to happen. Not in this 1 hour a day. Is not going to happen. Like, that lifestyle is different. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever spoken to people who do competition like that. It's a different culture. Like, it's a lifestyle. Like, the way they eat. I mean, they're on some other levels thing. So I try to you know, help people understand that what you're trying to do is you're trying to create the most healthiest you can create at your where you're standing at right now. You know what I mean? So um you can do that, and all it does is it just takes effort. It just takes conscious effort of every day, understanding, what you're putting into your body, of course, what you're doing activity wise. It just takes conscious effort, and I mean and then when you start thinking like that, it's not as hard as you think it is. You know what I mean? And break it down into, like, be simple, like, just win that moment, win each day. That's all I tell people. Win that moment, and don't think about, oh my God, I gotta be here. It's gonna take 2 years, or it's gonna take 5 6 months for me to get to this. No, just win your day. Wake up, win a day. Just win that moment and be like, boom, I did it. So then check mark. The next thing you know, a day becomes a month becomes a year, and the next thing you know, you turn around, you're like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
like, yo, I just I was consistent and I won each day, and then now I turn around and I look at myself from where I was a year ago, and I'm just a totally different person.
Yeah.
And I really stress people, also, weighing yourself
Every day.
every day, weigh yourself, measure yourself every day. And the reason why I say that is because it will hold you accountable to what you're putting in your body. Because if you see your weight spike from one day to the next, you will easily be able to understand the reason why it spiked, because of what you put into your body the day before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you sit there and you weigh yourself once a month, or you don't, like, a lot of people. There's another misconception. I don't like weighing myself. I just hate, looking at the weight. It bothers me, this, that, third, and fourth. And I'm like, nah, you got to face that monster, right? And right, just got to look at it.
Yeah.
Another thing I say is take a picture of your put a bathing suit on, take a picture of your body once a month, and front, side, back, and take a photo. And in 12 months, in 12 months, you'll see this transition happening. So basically, hold yourself accountable. And when you start doing that, and you're not hiding away from the fact that your weight and the way you look and everything like that, you're very conscious about that. It's going to help you progress, because you're going to start to do things, to make sure that you don't mess up that journey that you're on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I just want to piggyback and add, like, keeping a workout journal,
Hmm.
or like tracking your stats. Because,
Yep.
like, I go to some running groups and they have like walking paces. And there's been people who have started out in the walking pace, like they were in the walking pace last year, and then we came out this year, they're running in pace running groups. And it's like,
Wow.
that one guy shared that he was like, first of all, I lost 40 pounds over this year. And then also, like, I came here and I was just walking, I would trot a little bit, but now he's running in one of the pace groups. And so it's like, he's signed up for his first set of races and things like that. And so being able to kind of track your stats, if you will, so that
Yeah.
if you don't see the weight changing, or if you're not really consistent with taking your measurements and things like that, that's another way that you can kind of see your growth, um, as you're going along on that journey.
It's tracking that. I can attest to that, because there are some things, even in this short amount of time, that I wasn't able to do that I can do now just by sticking with it. I couldn't do certain things. I can put
Mhm.
all my business out here, but I can see the slow progress. And I'm excited about it, because I didn't think that I would get back to this. I never thought that I would get back to this. I was like a cardio junkie or whatever. So I'm excited. Um, what? There was one more question. I think we're almost out of time here. Hold on 1 second. Oh, okay. Oh, quickly, just tell them. We got Judd's information. Coach, did you want to mention anything about that program that you were telling me about in New Orleans? Or you?
I mean, it's a nation. Are you talking about the nonprofit?
Yes. Is it nationwide?
Well,
or is it New Orleans?
It's a nationwide one. I was the Louisiana program director for a while, but the name of it is now Coach Across America. They went back to their original name. And it's just it's AmeriCorps-based program that gives coaches an opportunity to be mentors in a young person's life. So they partner with schools and other sports-based nonprofits. They train them in trauma sensitivity, and then give them the opportunity to be a positive role model through the power of sport. And so, yeah.
I'm going to get more information on that. Judd, I will get you that information as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
They respond so differently to male trainers than they do me. I can talk. If you say it, they will listen to it. If she says it, they will listen. If I say it, it's just like, but you're still fat, so why should we listen to you? So, listen.
But those kids bring you healthy snacks now.
They do. They do.
They hear you.
They bring me low carb stuff.